You can support this show at patreon.com/ASAPodcasting. Welcome to a Skyrim Addict podcast, where I will discuss my adventures and misadventures through Skyrim. Join me. Add your stories, add your tales. Let's get into this thing. And welcome back, Skyrim Addict podcast number 160, 170, something like that. It's been a while since we recorded. We were actually just talking about UESP and stuff. So I'm here, Michael, Colin's here.
Hey guys.
Victor's here.
Hey, how you doing?
Ray is here.
Hello.
So we were talking about a little about the Outer Worlds thing and how amazing the UESP is. And I just since we were talking about that, I wanted to give them a plug for. They actually just started a Patreon for the UESP.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It's I'm trying to think. It was on their last podcast. They were talking about it because they have the podcast they do now as well. And poor Michelle's name got butchered on there. but Michelle was donated to it, and then I hopped in and donated to it as well. So if you like the UESP, and it is like the best gaming wiki imaginable. Yeah, you can hit them up on Patreon now. So just want to throw that out there at the top here, just since we were talking about it.
Yeah, I was talking about trying to find a good wiki for the quests for the Outer Worlds, and I was talking about the UESP and how awesome that is.
It's super simple. So it's patreon.com/UESP.
Yep, that's it there. Yeah,
and that takes you right there.
Perfect.
Yeah, and they have a few different levels and stuff, so some fun stuff. But it's mostly, and they also donate to charity and stuff throughout the year. So, I guess they have 2 full-time employees and then a bunch of other people doing stuff. But yeah, man, they put in so much work into that thing. It's like,
yeah.
I know we've used it a lot.
Yeah, and it, for anybody who hasn't used it, it's not just for Skyrim; it's for all the Elder Scrolls. It's UESP.
Yeah.
So,
and it's got all the little nuggets of lore that I get to throw into the D&D game and everything.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we've used it for everything from the Roundtables to 10 AD to just just playing the game itself or building a character or anything else. And some sad, I don't know, relatively sad, whatever. Skyrim news. Couch Warrior going away.
I did not know.
Yeah, just announced it today. He said he's going to be working on something else. Hasn't said what, but finishing up the Skyrim stuff they're doing. So, at the end of Couch Warrior.
I kind of half expected that coming. He just wasn't getting the views, and
and he puts a ton of work into it. So it
does. Yeah. So creative, amazingly creative, and it's too bad. Probably the most underrated and sadly unwatched Skyrim content ever made. It's just amazingly good stuff, and just never got the traction.
Yeah, I mean it's there on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, check out Couch Warrior TV. Just amazing storytelling and how Stu put it all together and so it's really well done, really interesting.
Yeah. I've been a Patreon subscriber to his channel for quite a while now. So
I guess he's going to be doing something else. He hasn't said what or anything, but that'll be going away. So.
They had a good Discord too. It's the only one I ever actually followed much.
Sometimes it's hard to follow them. Because there's just it's hard to follow along if it's a super busy one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, stay up to date.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up on the conversations and stuff.
Yeah, I was a member of one that was for ESO, and it was okay at the start because I knew what they were talking about, but then the game started getting bigger and more updates, and then everybody was talking more about group stuff. And I didn't know half the people or half the stats, or like, you know, and then start talking about builds, and I only had like 2 characters, so, and both of those were Dragon Knights. So I got completely lost. And then when that sort of stuff happens, when it doesn't relate to you anymore, you're like, you hop on in there in the end. But
yeah, you have to sort of concentrate on if you're going to try to follow the messaging. I haven't. I know, Ray, you've used it a lot for audio, right? And I guess
we
works
use it
well
for our live broadcast of the Fallout feed.
Yeah. So it's great for that, but it's like trying to follow Twitter. It just goes by too fast, you know. It's impossible.
Yeah, we do a
or
little
Twitch
bit of chat in there, but mostly we just use it for the audio channels. The PC group uses it when they play Fallout 76 because the in-game is wonky.
Ah, okay. Hey, as long as we're sort of talking sort of generalized gaming and stuff, I'd like to just put it out there for anybody listening to this to check out the new NVIDIA gaming service. I forget what it's called, NVIDIA Now or something like that. It has a lot of cool things to offer that aren't like Stadia or Xbox, Game Pass or some of the other ones. It's a pretty cool service, and it's not very expensive. So check it out. It relies on games that you already own, so you don't buy games from them. You already own the games, and when you sign up, it sort of parses all your various places that you own games, like Epic or Ubi or Steam or whatever, and then it offers you streaming versions of the games.
Oh,
so
interesting.
you can play them on a Mac or on a potato laptop. So it's like $5 a month or something. And there's also a free version of it. So anyway, it's worth checking out. It's pretty cool.
Is that what I've seen? Because I've seen some people playing ESO on Android.
Yeah, you saw that too. That was Arcania from
Tales of Tamriel. Yeah,
Lotus of Doom, and he synced his laptop to his mobile, and then synced his Xbox One controller through Bluetooth to his phone, and started playing ESO on his phone with an Xbox controller.
That is the definition of what old computer guys used to call a kludge.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
It's funny because the first I saw him doing that, and then I think it was like an episode or two ago or maybe 3 or so of the UESP podcast where I think it's Pylon as their main host. I think he had set up a server where he could play any game on his phone and was playing he's either playing like Skyrim or ESO or something on his phone as well. And I don't know if it was using the same thing or if he was doing it in a different way or what. But it was the same kind of thing. But I was watching. I had seen him. Had seen Arcanair doing that today. That's what made me think of it. Yeah, him posting about it.
Cool.
And he said there was like no lag or anything too.
Yeah, he said he was getting less lag on his phone than he was on his PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to with this FiOS I got now. It's symmetrical. It's almost symmetrical gigabit, which is pretty impressive if you can hit servers that can support it. If I was on it now, I'd be so fast that I'd be talking to you from episode 190. Yeah. So. I was like blown away when I saw the numbers from the speed test. It's really fast.
All right. Well, anyway, so enough with all that. What's the lottery numbers?
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. Now that you're in the future.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I can't divulge that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that. That was pretty good. I had been. I'm still rolling around in Skyrim with the final Roundtable character that I had used. Trying to get everything to 100, which I'm getting there. I think I probably have half the things in 100.
Yes, I have sad stories about Skyrim
Oh no.
lately. Well, we'll do a mod talk episode at some point, but I've had some serious mod issues. I
Oh
finally
really?
gave up on SE again and went back to the Legacy edition. Yeah, there's some I don't know. Again, maybe somebody listening to this can shed some light on it. But there's something built into SE that I have managed to trigger twice now. First with my Hearthfire character. That's why what you reminded me of that. And then another character that I built thinking, okay, well, it was just this. And so I built a character trying to avoid that. And at right around the same level, about level 33, 34, boom, starts to crash on every loading into any new cell, trying to fast travel.
Use Vortex.
No, not organizer, man. Yeah. If anything, it would be Vortex. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't think what. So what about Vortex would save me from that?
I don't know. The last time I complained about Vortex, you said use Mod Organizer, so I just wanted to,
okay. Turnabout is fair play,
rubber and glue. That's all. I was just bouncing it back.
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, you know me. It literally the only thing I know about Vortex is that it's called Vortex. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
I don't even know if it's actually mods. I think it may be a combination of mods and the difference between Special Edition and Legacy Edition in the way it saves games or handles games. 64-bit.
You keep on, that's what I was just going to say. I think I know the problem. I think I can solve it right now. Is that you said that you start crapping out at around about 30. Level 30 something, you probably have the SKSE 32-bit installed, and the minute you hit 32, it just so you need the SKSE 64-bit, and then you can get all the way up to 64 before it starts to crap out.
Wow.
I'm sure that's right.
And then if you really want to grind a character, you need the SKSE 128.
Totally, man. Yeah, but I would need like a quantum computer for that, right?
That's why you need to play. Was it the Outer Worlds? Because you need the computer on the ship.
Oh, I need Skyrim QE, the Quantum Edition.
Quantum Edition. That'll probably be out before 6 is out. So
yeah, true.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm still loving Vortex. So I know that every loadout. At the beginning of the game, somewhere in the first couple of levels, I'm going to crash.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll never crash again.
Yeah. It's kind of like
for whatever reason, it figures it out and it just fixes it and off we go.
Yeah. It doesn't, you don't change anything. It just crashes and then you like kick it a few times, turn it on off, and then turn it back on and then play, and then you're like, all right, is it going to happen? Save, quick save, quick save, quick save. And then you go past that point, and then you carry on, and then you just play.
But how many mods are you using?
Oh, like 50 or 60.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's certainly not,
No, I'm not saying I'm not digwagging or anything. I'm just saying, I don't know
it actually has a limit. I think it has Vortex has a limit of how many mods you can actually install with it. It's
I don't know. I have a feeling mine is.
I think a limit on plugins that you can have.
That's right. Yeah. Textures, meshes, things like that, separate issues. SKSE plugins are a separate issue. They don't require an ESP or an ESM. I think my problem is mostly just my own doing. But
are any of your INI files set to outie? That could be the problem.
Shit, of course. Why didn't I think of that? I've been using Bethany instead of Bethouty. I don't know. Anyway, at some point I'm going to try to post it on Reddit and see. There are lots of threads out there with similar symptoms, but no real solutions for my particular problem. So,
well, I do want to say that I don't really appreciate your latest list of suggested mods.
which
I tried those.
Where did I
The
publish
ones we were
list?
talking about in January.
Oh, which mods? Grace and
Grace and Adamant and Forgotten Magic.
oh, those are awesome mods. Why? Why don't you like them?
Well, I think some of it is because I've tried to run them all at the same time, and it's just too drastically different than what I'm used to.
Oh, okay. That's what I love about that stuff, because it makes the game a completely different game. So that's why after 4,000
The thing
hours,
is, I just don't know how to do anything. I mean, at this point,
you want me to learn new shit? Fuck you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It'd be okay if it was just one or two things, but it's like every damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just absolutely struggled with leveling.
It's tough. Some of those, yeah. I agree.
And I still can't improve any weapons on the wheel. I don't know,
which mod is doing that. That could be more of a problem with not having a merged patch than.
Well, no, it comes up with a message and says you don't have the proper skill level.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that may be how you set up that. That could be Grace for sure. Then, if you haven't, because let's see. One of the characters I played using Grace, I started, in the 10 to 20 range on several things, but in the 2 to 3 range, I had, I think, a level 3 or 4 in smithing. Yeah, so you can't do anything. You have to go buy skill training, or have a mod like, say, Ars Metallica that allows you to gain skill by breaking down weapons or something like that, or going to the tanning rack, because otherwise you're right, you can't do anything until you've attained level 10 or 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. It makes it different. I just started a game with like Wildcat and advanced adversary encounters, but also, which is like insane, along with Combat Evolved, where you get body injuries and locational damage and stuff like that. In 2 shots, the game will say, "Oh, you've got a spinal injury." Boom, you're hit in the head, dead. Sorry, see you later. It's tough. But I also loaded a mod called something to do with bandits. They're leveled. They're leveled in a different way, so that it's not like Obis. So the untrained bandits are actually wearing common clothes, so you can one-shot them pretty easily. But then you get deeper into the level, and you find the boss has like really serious armor on. You can't.
Well, yeah, and I'm running around in heavy armor and have a steel warhammer, and wolves kill me.
Yeah. There you go. It's different.
So, but yeah, it's all the mods seem really cool, but just not all at once.
Yeah, you're right. You sort of have to sort of pick and choose and try to put together a really interesting combination that'll make the game both interesting, fun, hard, but also fun. Yeah. That's really important.
Sorry to interject, but because my brain's Swiss cheese, I just wanted to. When you mentioned wolves, I think it's the last update for the Long Dock came out, so I think they finished the series, and it continues the story from wherever it is. So, is anybody out there who's played it and wanted looking to see how it finished, just let you know that I've played it and it's great.
Nice.
And you should play it.
I loved it from the start. I bought it at the very beginning. But speaking of wolves, a game that calls itself realistic, but also makes wolves kill you is not realistic, but it's a fun game.
Yeah, but that's in the disclaimer. That's on the title screen.
Yes, yeah.
They have put in a story element that has altered the wildlife, and that's why it's acting that way.
Yeah. That wasn't the case when it first came out. I remember.
Yeah.
I think I bought the game like within days of its release on Steam, and but yeah, it is wonderful. I love the art style and the aesthetic. And
I really like.
The sound is wonderful. It's really, really well done. It's a great game. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I played some of that. First one that came, or the first chapter or whatever it was that came out.
Yeah. So it's all in like there's loads of chapters, but there's like I think there's only 3 stories.
Okay.
There's the first story where he crash lands, and then he goes through, and then the second chapter is he moves from one place and then leaves that place and goes to another place, and he can't go back.
I think I got that far at least. Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you finish in that second area, then he finished in that area, and then he was heading down to go to the next area to find the person that he was looking for, and that's where it ended. And it was like it ended there for like I think it must have been a year or two, I think. And then I just found it on Steam when I was looking through Steam for a new game to buy. I saw that The Long Dark had updated, and lo and behold, the most recent chapter was on there. So I don't know when it came out. It could have been months ago, but I just found it like at the start of the week. And I already finished it.
Oh, nice.
I played it like nonstop. I got through it, and it was great. I enjoyed it a lot, and it's very, very different. You'll know when you watch, at the very beginning why it's very, very different.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet. So. Cool.
Yeah, I've been just playing Skyrim, really. I was going to start looking for... Because somebody had actually asked, I forget who it was, somebody had emailed in asking about if there was going to be another roundtable this year. And I said, yeah, we were talking about doing the modding one, of course. And I was going to start looking and see what was on Xbox so we could do like a PC track and then console track, for when we did it. So I wanted to start seeing what kind of bigger mods were on Xbox One, since right now this character I'm kind of playing vanilla and just doing everything.
Yeah, we should. Well, we're going to do a modding track that's a quest mods only, and then you can build whatever you want.
Yeah, otherwise. I would think that would probably be best, like some kind of larger questing stuff.
Yeah, if you want my opinion, I say it doesn't matter if you want it or not. You're getting it.
Definitely want it.
Usual, anyway. Yeah. I would say Bruma and the one at Helgen Reborn.
Helgen Reborn. Yeah.
But is that available? That's not available for Xbox, though, is it?
I believe they both are.
Oh, are they? Okay. What about Project AHO? Is that available on Xbox?
I don't know what that is. No.
Okay.
But I haven't been looking, so you might want to.
That's a great one. Forgotten City, which I didn't really like at first, but I've come to like it better.
Forgotten City was really good. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
I haven't played that either.
But Project AHO and Vigilant are two really, really great ones. I don't know. Some of them are so big you just can't do them on Xbox.
Yeah, there are some
like Legacy of the Dragonborn and stuff. That's not even. That's just like a whole 100 hours of play by itself. So, but yeah. Just to be, I want to. Speaking of mods, of course, there's 2 mods I just want to mention for people who might be modding on PC and specifically in Legacy Edition that I've discovered recently for myself, that when you look at them, and these are both texture mods, have nothing to do with gameplay or anything. It's just all visual stuff. One of them is called Dirt Cliff texture fix. And when you see what it does, you will say, oh my God, that's amazing. So if you've ever noticed when you're running around in Skyrim and there's this sort of overhang with a little bit of grass on top and there's some roots underneath it as you're like running along roads and stuff like that, and there's always this nasty kind of line, between the grass, the color, whatever they stick in there, green or whatever it is, and the rock around this sort of rounded edge of this cliff. Is that ringing a bell for anybody? If not, I apologize, but this fixes that. It just blends them all in, and it goes away. It's something that's always irritated the hell out of me, and here's this tiny little fix for it. It's just amazing. So Dirt Cliff texture fix, and a great tree mod called Myrkivore. Ray, have you tried this?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, Myrkvior, Myrkvior. It's done by a guy who claims that he's a horticulturalist and has been for like 30 years or something like that. So all his trees are accurate. And it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous tree mod. So those two so for anybody interested in visual mods, I highly recommend both of those. And I don't think they're available for special edition, but give them a try. So.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at mods in a while because I haven't been playing with them with this particular playthrough. And on Xbox, it's not super easy to bounce back and forth with and without mods. So I should have I have a second Xbox One X coming because there was like some crazy sale on Amazon today.
Oh, wow.
It was like $200 and it came with a game. And I was like, oh, well.
Well, they're expecting what? They're trying to dump their stock, right?
Yeah, I think it was it might have been open stock or something, so it was a little extra off. So they're probably trying to clear out a bunch. Yeah, and then of course the end of this year, whatever the next one, whatever they're calling it, I forget, is coming out. So the next gen.
I don't think they've even announced the name yet. Yeah,
well, did they call? I forget what the heck it was. But yeah, PlayStation 5 and that are, I guess, coming out in the next year. So
yeah, we'll hear at E3, I guess.
Yeah, I would assume that's where you'll get a lot more details and hopefully some Bethesda stuff, some good Bethesda stuff.
Sorry,
I'm just hoping for maybe some Starfield stuff because that's at least a step in the right direction.
Yeah, well, if they can manage to bring it out, they'll steal some of the thunder from games that have, like Star Citizen, that have kind of languished and been lots of bullshit and lots of blow and no show. So yeah, if Bethesda can pull off a real space RPG, like bigger and I hesitate to say better than Outer Worlds, but at least maybe bigger.
I would go. The thing with Outer Worlds is it's not a really hard game. It's not a really big game. They just got so many things just right.
Yeah.
There's a few things wrong with it, but they got so many, especially with the with your interchanges with your companions, and your companions interchanges with each other, and your companions' interactions with the rest of the world, rest of the universe, and their own little companion quests. And it was that part of the game was brilliant. The only disappointment I felt in the Outer Worlds is in the hardest level. What was that called?
Supernova. Yeah.
Supernova. Yeah, that was that failed miserably. I don't know even what they were trying there. And the other thing was I wanted more. It just wasn't enough for the game.
Yeah. I haven't played it through enough but I suspect that Supernova failed miserably for the same reason that the survival mode in Skyrim and all the other ones failed miserably. That's because they gamify it too much.
Yeah.
They make you, save when you go back to your ship or save when you sleep or some bullshit like that. It's just stupid. That's not what survival is all about.
Yeah, no, I wanted an immersive thing. I didn't want it to I didn't want to handicap myself for no obvious reason.
Yeah. Luckily, there's a mod for that. But anyway, yeah.
There always is.
There always is. Yes, there is.
Oh, there was a game I was playing. Seeing as we're just mentioning games of worth, but I finally got through. Oh, well, there's a there's a quote for you. Got through The Witcher 3.
I've been seeing you playing it a lot. Yes.
I played it and I enjoyed it a lot more than the last 2 times I tried to get through it. Oh, everything's gone quiet again.
Uh-oh.
I'm here.
I don't know. I'm here. There we go.
Okay.
But I played through it and it was enjoyable, and I liked the fighting and the dungeon and the things like that. The story annoyed me a bit, and there was one thing that really irritated me is that I like to go out and find good gear. No matter what game I'm going through, I like to all the crafting bits. So the alchemy, and I like doing that little crap, and they have it there, doing your alchemy, getting better potions, and to have better equipment. So I had him going all over the fucking world, getting better and better, and finally got on myself master level master crafted Witcher gear. And just a special fuck you to Geralt, I put him in all heavy armor. And was it? But what I didn't like is that I got him all this gear, and I've forgotten what's the girl's name in it. The one
Which
he's
one? There's so many.
Yeah, the one he's trying to find, Ciri.
Siri. Okay. Yeah.
Ciri. So it's the girl that he's finding, who's his daughter, right? Now she played through the entire game as well. She's going through her own story, which you come in as now and again.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even go out to find her a fucking button to fix her blouse, which is open for the entirety of the game. Right? So, whoever it was who was the costume designer for all the armor that all the men wore done a fantastic job. The 13-year-old fucking pent-up, sexually frustrated teenager that they got to design all the women's clothes, not so much.
Yeah.
That was that annoyed me through the entirety of the game. I was thinking, really, all the men are all in this great, well-designed, well-thought-out armor, and all the women are just literally walking around with barely anything on all of the time, and their gear is just hanging off them and making sure that it's low and draping, or even if it's buttoned up, it's for some reason there's a fucking button missing right in the middle for the whole game.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well.
I spent hundreds of thousands of gold pieces making solid plate Ursine bear armor from scrolls that I found buried in a cave 200 years ago, and nobody can give this fucking poor girl a button to sew on her wear.
Yeah.
So the mods, unlike Skyrim, for Witcher, are all better clothed women.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the opposite of everything you ever see, and yeah.
Well, I have to be perfectly honest. I rather enjoyed that part of it, but that's just me.
But now I can understand the sorceresses, their outfits, because their magic is their armor, as the old sorcerer's quote goes. Yeah. So they don't have to be wearing full armor. But Ciri is a melee fighter. She's a sword fighter, up and close, taking hits just as much as Geralt is. She needs armor, not a fucking blouse.
Yeah, well, that was a miss. You should be able to upgrade her armor but yes, you're right. Yennefer, Triss, Keira Metz, they're all the witches. They're sorceresses. They wear whatever they want. Particularly Yennefer. But I mean, the peasant clothing is not immodest in any way. It's all pretty much medieval style peasant clothing, and including medieval style soup bowl haircuts. What annoys me the most about The Witcher, and this is a very minor quibble, but it's
the game or the whole thing.
The whole. I love the books, the story. I love the world. No, The Witcher 3. The most annoying thing in that entire game is the wind. It drives me fucking crazy. There is no weather in that is not windy.
Yeah, what annoys me is that they made this beautiful world, and I'm talking absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
But they ruined it by having 90% of the time it's bad weather. It's cloudy. It's raining. It's storming. It's windy. It's storming. It's raining. There's a sun. Holy shit! There's the fucking sun. It's like English people at the beach. It's like holy shit! They're all running out in 5 seconds, and then 10 minutes later, it's all fucking gone and it's all clouded over again.
Yeah. Yep.
So more clothes for women mod and it's always fucking sunny mod because I want to look at this world as
I know a nice calm sunny day would be wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. Get through an entire day of a calm sunny day.
Yeah. So
I'd just be happy if they had first person mode.
Okay. Fair point. I agree with you there too. I prefer first person games. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and let me choose which Witcher I get to play as.
And the movement, it's still wonky. He's still turning on a pin. I don't. That really irritates me, especially in a game that's so modern. It's like
how many times did you walk off a cliff when you were stop, and then he stops, and then you press backwards? And what does he do in Skyrim? When you stop and then you press backwards, you move backwards.
Yeah.
Not in The Witcher 3. No. You press to go backwards because he's right at the edge of the cliff. He goes, right, I'm just going to run forward a bit and turn around. Wow!
That's right. That's right. Yeah, for an almost 10-year-old game, the movement in Skyrim is pretty seamless. But that's a CD Projekt Red kind of hallmark almost. They hauled that movement almost directly out of Witcher 1, for God's sake. But it's just as bad in Witcher 2.
And he doesn't stop when you stop pressing the button. When you let go of the button, he carries on for 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah, I can get that a little bit. There's momentum. It's like the horse. When you start moving forward with the horse, there's a second or two of wait as the horse gets himself up into. Yeah, I sort of get that, but that business of turning like he's got a stick up his ass and you're rotating on the stick. It's just I don't. That's unforgivable. A modern game shouldn't have that.
Yeah, or when you're trying to loot, if you have like just the E that comes up over the bag, you can't loot. You have to have the entire E loot sign come up.
Yeah,
and you got to loot it. If it's just you got the E and then sort of half the OOT.
Yeah.
No, you can't loot it. You got to move the character, and then he misses it completely because he's got his back to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, I really enjoyed it.
No, yeah, minor quibbles. Really, it's a wonderful game. It really is, and it's a wonderful story too. It really is.
It is. Story. I mean, and the combat system is fucking amazing. It's so complicated that I could play it. I could have as many playthroughs of that game if I could get rid of the main character and lots of all the other characters as well, and just play as a minor character going into that world. If was it Wizards of the Coast were to go to any game maker to make a D&D official game, computer game, CD Projekt Red is definitely the people they should go to.
Yeah,
without a hesitation in my mind, not Bethesda, not anybody else. Go to CD Projekt Red, and they will make them the best D&D game transferred over to a computer game and make it work and make it absolutely fantastic.
What about the other way? Is there a Witcher based tabletop game? Like a D&D?
There more than likely is somebody's created a module for it. There's probably like an RPG type thing, not like Dungeons and Dragons things, but probably like maybe even an erotic RPG type booklet that you can buy and sort of like play out scenarios. I didn't research those at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, what killed me, because I tried to start a new playthrough on Deathmatch, because I think it was on just like Story and Steel, I think it's called, which is like mostly story and like, a good bit of combat, but it's not particularly difficult. So I wanted a real challenging combat, but I just couldn't get past all the cutscenes. It was just like, and when you skip it, you can't skip the entire fucking cutscene. It skips one sentence in the cutscene, and then you say the next sentence, and then you say the next sentence, and sort of like, no, just let me cut the entire cutscene.
Yeah, you can end up spamming the space bar.
Yeah. So I was like, I do want it, but I'm gonna have to fucking Victor mod this bitch to get it to work out how I want it.
There are a bunch of mods for it. I've never tried a mod on Witcher.
They're on Nexus. Yeah. It's like, I think it's like the 8th most modded game or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's pretty up there, but I'm just fucking lazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's a complex game. So speaking of complex games and roundtables and stuff, Outer Worlds.
I had no idea that's where you were going with that.
Yeah, I wanted to do that before, but we didn't have a good segue. I tried to segue into it, but then we moved into Witcher.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What I was going to say. So, like, just basically speaking, what I was thinking of doing is next week. Next week. Come up with a time that we could do a show where we could pick our characters and our classes, because next week I'm on holiday all next week to get over this cold and flu thing. So I was thinking we could pick all the stats out, and then I was going to randomly assign you guys, you pick whatever thing, and then you get one follower, because in this game, I think most of you have played it, you can take 2 followers out with you as you travel around. So I was thinking that if there's at least 6 of us who's doing the show, that each one of us gets one a follower to take around with them at all times, or as most as you can, so we can sort of like see what each character's reaction is to the certain quests that we're playing through, because some of them have 0 reactions, and some of them have really have like a big thing to say about what's happening in this particular situation, and we can see what you get out of that.
I have to make a confession that I have only played the game as far as pretty much through character creation and getting to the ship. That is as far as I've ever gotten. So this is going to be, for me, a completely blind, excellent experience.
Yeah, me too. I've downloaded it and haven't started it yet.
Yeah. So this is why I'm looking forward to this so much, because you played it a lot, Colin, and I'm going to very much rely on your expertise and I'll just go with whatever.
Well, I think a lot of the you would have heard stories. You probably haven't looked too much into the game, but it's pretty much out there that it's the world is kind of like based on the Firefly thing, the TV show. Mm-hmm. If you like that show, then you're going to like this game. Just
Space Western. That's
yeah. So there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek moments there. So it's got some great humor to it, and it's actually got a few Firefly references in there. And sort of like, extra points to those who point them out early.
I'll have to go back and watch the whole one and only season again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And movie.
And and Serenity.
So we should also randomly assign a below average and very high attribute too.
Yeah, I was actually what I was going to go with was at the very start is that I think you can increase, I think, isn't it 6 times at the very start?
Yeah, you got 6 basic attributes to apply. Everything is average.
Yeah, and you can apply 6 times.
And those are one time only, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember about that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you can apply all 3 to the same one to get it very high. So what I was going to say was that when you start the game, you can go for randomly choose to get a minus. So you'll minus from at the very start, you'll minus from 1. So 1 will be set to a below average. But that means because you've gone down 1, that means you get 7 that you can increase. But that 1 will be taken away from all the other randomly rolled what you increase. So that one will always definitely be low. So you can't sort of say, a minus 1 from that one, and then we randomly roll what everything increase, and then that one gets increased back up to average again. That can't happen.
So Colin, you're proposing to do sort of just a random, however it's generated, random thing, or are you going to have people pick their own when it comes to that first section there?
Well, I think seeing as 2 people, and I think Jessica, it's only going to be a second playthrough. If we'll just leave it up to choice. So if they want to do their own stats, they can. But if they want to do a random roll, then I can provide them with a random roll.
Okay.
But it'll probably just be me using random.com and calling out numbers.
Or little pieces of paper and cups.
Yeah, exactly. Go old school with it. But,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We still want to look for one more player?
Yeah, well, I was thinking that we could have 6 players and me, and then sort of I could randomly sort of shift around.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going to be playing along, or we could just leave it as the 6 of us. But I was hoping maybe we'd get another female voice on the show.
That'd be great.
I'll have to ask Andrew or Jessica if they know somebody who would be interested in joining us.
So, sort of swinging back to generalized games, I have to say the game that I'm looking forward to the most this year has been delayed, sadly, and that's Dying Light 2, because I absolutely adore urban parkour games, and the first one was awesome. If any of you guys have played it, or if you haven't played it, you should. It was a great game, and the next one looks amazing, but they've delayed it now, so it's sometime in 2020 maybe, whereas I think it was originally supposed to come out in April this year. That kind of post-apocalyptic stuff I really, really like, but Fallout just bounces off me.
It still intrigues me, but because it's multiplayer level type things, I think I'm going to be, if I do join when the NPCs come out to get the story, I'm still going to be so far behind on the on the leveling scale.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. It doesn't impact you.
You say that, but FOMO is a big thing, Ray. And I have serious FOMO. I
start a new character almost every week.
Oh, really? Jeez.
So I've constantly got characters, in the 5 to 10 level.
Mm.
Yeah, but you know how to make them.
Yeah, that's
FOMO.
true.
FOMO means you're out there. You have no concept of what to do. I bought that game when it first came out, and I came out into the world and I looked around and I thought, I don't know where I am. I have no idea what to do here. But I'm really glad that it has, you know, collected a really core fan base.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you wait until April 7th when Wastelanders comes out, it'll be a completely different game.
really,
Yeah.
is that bad for you, or is that? I mean, in other words, are you looking forward to it on some levels, but
Yeah, but he gets to play a whole new game that he's already paid for. So
yeah,
I think
but
he's
I
going to
mean,
be pretty happy.
is the game that you've enjoyed for the last year or two going to go away, or are you still going to be able to play that part of it as well?
I can't really talk about it. I'm under NDA.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
You're in the.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I've kind of gotten a little bit of that with the now Skyrim coming out for ESO, the Dark Heart of Skyrim, I should say, where they're going to Blackreach and some other stuff. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
kind of feel like I'm missing out. But I just feel like I'm so far behind on any kind of ESO thing at this point that I don't know if I would enjoy it or not. But just hearing everybody talk about it and all the ESO shows are like super hyped about it, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, I want to get in there and play. And then I was like, I think it was Arcaneer again who tweeted about when you buy the updates, like the new chapters for ESO. And I was thinking that I was going to wait until a year had passed or until Dark Heart came out. And then I could buy, elsewhere with my in-game money. Mm-hmm. Like crowns. There's not in-game money, but they're crowns that I get through my subscription. But he reminded me that if the new chapter comes out with a new class, which it did, it came out with Necromancer, you still have to buy the chapter with real money. You can't buy it with crowns. Because you can buy the story with crowns, but you can't buy the Necromancer with crowns. So you got to buy the Necromancer with real money. So you might as well just buy the chapter and the Necromancer with real money instead of just buying the chapter with crowns. So, because I didn't want to pay for it because I wasn't going to play it. I was playing I was still playing Skyrim at the time. I was going through Legacy of the Dragonborn, which is kind of stalled now. I was playing Witcher 3 and then was it Dragon Ball and fucking The Long Dark. So I was playing all of that. I never go back to my Skyrim, but I'm probably going to go back and finish off Legacy of the Dragonborn because I got through most of it, I think. Haven't nearly collected half the stuff, I don't think. And I doubt I will collect all the stuff. I don't think I'm going to get through that.
It's almost impossible,
Yeah. So when I get to ESO, excuse me, I'm going to have to buy the Elsewhere chapter. But I got to find a time of when I'm going to get back into the game now, which is not going to happen for a long, long while. Because we got the Outer Worlds playthrough, so I'm going to be playing through that. And then hopefully Starfield is going to be out in like 3 months. So.
If it's out at all, it'll be in November.
All its DLC out by Christmas. And then Elder Scrolls 6 in January.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
We can all dream.
Yeah. And I obviously am.
Oh man.
Yeah.
When's the any 10AD recordings coming up?
We're in the middle of February, so
Andrew's got a songwriting.
Right? The Orpheum challenge. So he's
but he's doing the Fallout feed, isn't he? Huh? Yeah. Andrew.
To be fair, I don't think one person can handle 75 hours a week of podcasting. So they need as many people on board as possible.
I don't think he is doing that. Is he doing the Fallout feed? I don't think he is. Because he sometimes bows out, doesn't he?
No.
Yeah.
No, he's committed.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that. They let him out for the show, but Well, yeah, what was it? 75 songs or something like that? No, 20 songs, all within 75 hours or so.
Yeah, write and record all of them this month or something like that. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Produced the whole album.
So the next 10AD is like early March.
We're hoping to do early March.
I think we picked a tentative date anyway. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
So we'll have some keep an ear out for the Outer Worlds Roundtable. We'll obviously post stuff here about it as well. But that'll end up being on the Fallout feed, but we'll obviously the first one and stuff get over here too. Just because of time constraints on this feed. Try and do some research for the modding roundtable.
Let's do another, maybe in a week or two, we'll do a sort of mod talk / modding roundtable episode where we can sort of hash out a few.
Yeah, I'll dive into
in there and I'd like to get Michelle involved in that.
Yeah,
too,
that would be great.
Yeah.
I'll dive into the console mods, see what's going on over there.
Yeah.
So we have a kind of an idea. We don't have to end up doing the exact same ones, but at least if we have some crossover, and we can even compare the differences between them, because I'm sure there's stuff cut down, obviously, in the console versions of a lot of them as well.
I think that. We can talk about that. I have a couple of ideas about how to handle it. Just to put it out there, one possibility is to sort of create a character with whatever combination of, survival, whatever mods you want to have, take them up to say level 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick 5 or 6 of these big mods and run those through from level 20 with that character.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because most of them you're going to have to be leveled up somewhat to hop in.
Right, and you can't just load all these mods in and play them all out. It just doesn't work that way. The engine won't even handle it. So that's one way of handling it. So
that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yep. So if anybody has any ideas on the modding thing, please feel free to email in skyrimbookclub.ca. Also, mostly, in case anybody didn't notice, I'm not really in Facebook anymore. No offense to everybody in Facebook. I just haven't been using Facebook in general. So I've been manning the Skyrim Addict Twitter. So you can find me over there interacting with a lot of the ESO people. And the few Skyrim people that are bopping around. So that's probably the easiest way to communicate, honestly, because I check it all the time. So it was a kind of a lull of when I used it, but recently I've been using it quite a bit since I hopped into Discord some, but nobody's really using our Discord for Skyrim, so I was kind of posting to myself. So I went to Twitter instead. Yeah, that works a little.
Well, there was that one guy that posted, and about 3 months later, we responded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, it's just, it's much easier just for me to check Twitter. So check Skyrim Addict over there. In the Fallout feed, obviously, recording all the time, putting out thousands of hours of show a week. Dames Who Game came out just recently with episode 7. That was like a couple weeks ago, end of January. And Skyrim 10AD obviously on its main feed, and you'll hear it here as well. That feed is actually catching up to this one here.
I'll have those shows edited.
And we post and actually on Patreon it's way ahead of both of them. So it's like episode 38 or something like that on Patreon, I believe. And I think it's like 22 on this one and like 18 or 20 on the 10AD feed itself. And at the end of the show, like I said earlier, Dave is back. He had done if anybody's been listening for a long time, the McBeta stories and Muscasia. Uses like Requiem and a bunch of other mods I had the list, and does some like deep, long role playing. And so his first story is coming back is I think going to be right after this. Once I edit it all together, so stay tuned for that. Those are always good, really good for especially for like a role player and stuff, and enjoy the stories. They're really fantastic for that. God, I used to have such a hard time reading them, and his accent's way better than mine. Scottish is way better than like a Jersey accent.
It's got a good brogue to it.
Yeah. Just doesn't work the same. Like a Jersey accent doing, I feel like Skyrim should be Scottish.
It's funny because where we're moving, we just met some neighbors, and Vivian is from Lowestoft, which is about 100 miles north of London, so she's got this interesting kind of British, but with a little bit of Dutch thrown in there. And then the neighbor up the street is Irish, and her husband is Scottish. It's like when they all get together, it's a very interesting, almost incomprehensible conversation for some poor schmuck American like myself.
So we'll be back in a week or two. We'll do some modding stuff, and kind of throw some stuff around for the modding roundtable, and maybe even have an update for some timing of Outer Worlds and more information on that. But we'll see.
Nice.
So. Take care, everyone. Hang in for the end of the episode here.
Okay. Night, guys.
Good night.
This is Dave. I'm sending you the Dark Bow story. Hopefully it will be suitable for your podcast, and that you like it, or let people like it. We'll see what happens when we get there. Okay, so here goes. Hello everybody, this is Dave. I'm going to start a new story. Originally I wanted to do this in Requiem with a few additional mods, but I've been finding my system's causing me real problems, so I ended up using Perma with about 40 mods that go quite well with it, so we'll see how we go on. Anyway, here we go. Dark Bow, Bosmer Hunter. The prologue, an excerpt from the Journal of Tunnel Dark Bow. The Morrowind Skyrim border at last thank the gods. Tunnel Dark Bow had passed over the border, crossing into Skyrim from Morrowind on the road to the city of Riften without any problems at the border post. He was well known to these guards as he often travelled to Riften on his searches for gems and valuable skins. The traders in the Riften Grand Plaza seemed to be particularly effective at finding the items he desired. He was also aware that valuable and often unusual items could also be found at the traders located within the alcoves of the Ragged Flagon Inn. These are good people, despite the reputation of the Ragged Flagon in Riften supposedly being the headquarters of the Thieves' Guild. Tono knew there are thieves and bandits all over Tamriel. He considered Riften no worse than anywhere else. Tono may be slightly biased in this, to be honest. He doesn't normally carry anything much on his outward journeys from Valenwood. As usual, he just wore his well-worn, old and very comfortable leather armour. He carried an almost empty backpack from which his small leather tent and axe hung. He was armed with a well-used but still functional elven bow in the ancient Bosmer style. He wore a quiver containing a few iron and steel arrows, together with an old elven hunting dagger, also in the Bosmer style, in his belt. If he ever ran out of arrows, he could make a variety of bone-headed arrows as needed from his fletching, hunting and foraging skills. The pack horse he led carried the bare essentials of food and drink needed. The border guards at the crossing had more or less laughed at him after he explained to them the reason for his visit. He was in Skyrim looking for unusual materials, namely mammoth tusks. They had chortled and nudged each other as they said, good luck with that dark bow. Just make sure you give the giants our good wishes. The smart arse-nords didn't know that he wasn't after tusks from any living mammoths, and he certainly wasn't going to enlighten them. He needed at least 2, or preferably more, of the legendary superb mammoth tusks from the old ages before men and even more. The tusks would have belonged to mammoths which had been extinct in Skyrim and the rest of Tamriel for millennia. The only way he was going to get them is to travel to the north of Skyrim and forage for them in the wasteland near a place called Windstad Manor in Hjalmarch, which, according to his family, or to be more accurate, his half-sisters and half-brother-in-law, is the best place to find them. To let you understand a bit about him and his family, his mother's side of the family is complicated because of his mother's eclectic choices of partners in her life. Darkbow's own father was an Altmer, or High Elf. We used to think they were called that as they were so tall, and his father is very tall, even for an Altmer. The truth, of course, is more mundane, as the Altmer considered himself to be above all other mer. They claimed they were the first elves in all of Tamriel. Arrant nonsense, his mother would tell both him and his father. His father had died a few years after his birth at the hands of a Thalmor faction during one of their purges on the racial purity of the Altmer. Apparently, he had polluted himself by siring children on a Bosmer, and so he had to die, rather brutally as it turned out, by being dismembered while still alive after paralysing him. The Darkblow family really do not like the Thalmor and have a clan vendetta against all Thalmor, no matter their station in life. He was visibly more Bosmer than Altmer, even slightly taller than most, similar in the light copper skin colouring and the muscular build, and the dark auburn hair of his younger half-sister Muscasia Darkblow, whose father was a Dunmer. His hair is greying now, and he was nearing 550 years of age, almost elderly for a Bosmer. It seems his mother's Bosmer blood ran true, no matter the other parent. His mother, Khazra Darkblow, had died giving birth to Muscasia back in their home village of Darkvale in Valenwood. Her husband, Beda Blackstone, had left the newborn child with Khazra's family in Darkvale, being unable to cope with a young child on his own, given his line of work as a blade working for the Emperor. Excuse me. His other younger half-sister, Machia Blackstone, is a pure-blood Dunmer. She and Muscasia had Beda Blackstone as a fire, almost 200 years apart. Tonil also had an elder twin sister, Milia, more commonly known as Millie to the family, but not to the clan. As the elder twin, she is actually the head of the family and the clan. This particular Bosmer clan he belonged to was purely matriarchal. Machia, Muscasia and Tonil are very good, but Millie can thread an arrow through the eye of a needle at 100 paces. She's that good. She currently works as a scout for the Empire somewhere in Tamriel. Tonil was sure Machia had something to do with that particular posting. Anyway, both his half-sisters insisted that the remote part of Hjalmarch in Skyrim was probably the best area to get the tusks, and so here he was on his way north to one of the coldest and remotest parts of Skyrim, to a dwelling which belongs to Machia's full brother, Beda Blackstone. This makes him a half-brother-in-law, in his mind anyway. The sisters told him that Beda was family. Tonil didn't care one way or the other, and just accepted that they were all linked in some way through his mother. As was his custom, Darkbow followed a couple of days behind his Khajiit friend and companion, Janalia, whose instructions had been written out for him in case his memory failed, Janalia had said, grinning, as he handed the note to Darkbow. Be sure to follow them closely, my friend, as that bounty hunter is still chasing you after our little escapade in Hammerfall, he said, grinning. Ah, Hammerfall, Darkbow thought. That was definitely quite exciting. That red ruby was the size of a chicken egg, and definitely worth the trouble it had caused. Unfortunately, he now had one Adat al-Skabin, a most persistent Redguard bounty hunter, after him. The bounty hunter had almost caught Darkbow on the few occasions they had crossed swords. Darkbow was beginning to think he had a more personal interest in killing him, not just for the bounty, which is fairly trivial, only a couple of thousand gold septims to his knowledge. Darkbow, however, did follow Janalia's instructions to the letter and headed up the first road branching left off the Riften Road up to a small keep where some vigilants of Stendar lived and worked. Darkbow was in Yach Libridich, as defined in the old Bosmer language. He was a purveyor as well as a hunter and collector of fine skins and furs to the trade in the Empire. In addition, he was also a buyer and seller of other things of value and strange or unusual provenance, commonly known to the Thieves' Guild as a fence of high-quality goods. Like his sister, Miskazia, he really did hunt, skin, and tan rare skins and furs for his business. Miskazia often sold him some unusual furs and skins. Family was one thing, but business was business. Kazra had taught her elder children hunting, skinning and foraging skills, as only a Bosmer master hunter can. They passed these skills on to their younger siblings. Darkbow eventually grew to be a hunter in his own name, and his mother seemed to be proud of the fact that he was becoming a master of the Bosmer arts of hunting, foraging, skinning and tanning. To complete the transition to become a true master Bosmer hunter, he needed to personally gather the materials and personally make his own masterwork, axe, sword and bow. They each require unusual parts, often from long dead, even extinct animals. This is the ultimate quest for a Bosmer hunter of his skill and expertise. These weapons, if the truth be known, are not that powerful, certainly more than adequate, but they do require great skill and knowledge to make well. Darkbow intended to make the best ever made. They are also virtually indestructible, a useful trait. So there it was, the only reason he headed north to the middle of a land he was sure the gods had forgotten, far to the north, where the cold penetrates deep into your bones and kills you without mercy. He was looking forward to it, as only this eternally optimistic adventurer could be. And that's the end of the first stage. That's the introduction to Darkbow. I hope you liked it, and I'll be back with more soon. Thank you very much. Bye.